Welcome to the Shane Show on YouTube. Thank y'all for watching. 70 viewers. I know it's not a lot, but thank y'all for watching. From the bottom of my heart, thank y'all. Now let's get into this episode. We're going to change it up a little bit. I had 10 questions. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We'll get to them 10. Not today. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday. Thank y'all for sending them in. Thank y'all for helping me out with them, but we will get to them. But I wanted to switch the podcast up today. Carolina Panthers. What have you done? Really? What have we done? I may just sit here and just be blank faced for 10 minutes. Because what have we done? I think David Tepper has been so aggressive to try to find his franchise quarterback. He has, but you have to find a franchise quarterback in the NFL. You have to have a franchise quarterback. But since Cam Newton has left in 2019 or 2020, whenever you want to say, when Cam Newton took his last snap, there has been 11 starting quarterbacks as of today at 4:05 when the Panthers take on the Seattle Seahawks that have took snaps for the Carolina Panthers. And you brought Cam back. I ain't even counting them twice. I'm counting them once. What have we done? We drafted a rookie quarterback, Bryce Young, number 1 overall. You gave up the future. The future! For this guy. Why am I so passionate about this? Because draft picks are key in the NFL if you're in a small market. It's just like the NBA. Carolina Panthers are in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're not in Dallas. They're not in New York. They're not in LA. They're not in Miami. You have to want to come here to play football. We're not a free agency destination. Never have been. Never will be. So draft picks are key. And you give up 2 first, 2 seconds, and I've already said it before, DJ Moore, your number 1 receiver, who is a best friend to a rookie quarterback. So just look at it this way, Panthers fans. I know you're watching. We can't get anyone this year in the first round unless we trade Brian Burns. And nobody wants to do that. Brian Burns is coming into his own as a football player. He started last year and has transitioned well to this year. But to get a receiver for your rookie quarterback, you may have to mortgage Brian Burns and trade him for picks. Which is terrifying. Knowing that you may have to tear down a good defense, not a great defense, a good defense that keeps you in ball games just so we can rebuild because our owner is so desperate to be good that he mortgaged our future. This is not hedge funds, Tepper. This is football. Get somebody that has football in there. It's scary to know that, we can't get Marvin Harrison. You can't get Brock Bowers. You can't get the receiver from LSU. I mean, you can't get the other Ohio State receiver that's going to be a first-round pick because we don't have a first-round pick. And you traded for a first-round pick in a year where everybody said the quarterback class was down. That's not smart thinking, guys. Bryce Young was great at Alabama. Won a Heisman Trophy. The only thing he never won at Alabama that all the other Alabama quarterbacks have is a national championship. And he only lost that because he played against Georgia and that NFL defense. But I bring you back to a point of that national championship game where Bryce Young has not been the same really ever since. They're going downfield to score, and he throws a pick to Ringo. An awful pick to Ringo, too. Underthrown. I mean, it's an NFL throw, too. Outside the hash, and he couldn't make it. Because let's just be straight. He's got a pea shooter for an arm. He don't have a rocket. You didn't take the Ohio State quarterback because I guess you're afraid of Ohio State quarterbacks. Even though I'd be scared of Alabama quarterbacks just as much. You didn't take C.J. Stroud. You didn't take the guy with the most upside, Anthony Richardson, who's 6'4", 6'5". Tested well at the combine. Didn't show it in college, but, some guys, it takes a little longer. But if you put the right guy in place, it works out. And I think you didn't draft him because you didn't want the whole Newton experience again. Don't know why. I know it was only 10 years, but, 4 division titles, a Super Bowl appearance, MVP, 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. It's like, I know some down years. Second half wasn't the best. That's just because he was never protected. But we're not going to get into that because that's a whole nother show. But the whole Bryce Young situation is he's already hurt. And Andy Dalton's starting today and will be the 11th starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers since 2019, since David Tepper's took over. Which is, 11 quarterbacks. That's getting in Cleveland Browns territory, boys. Detroit Lions. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon. I hate to break it to you. It is not. Let's dive into another topic. Looking forward to the 2024 NFL Draft. Who are the lucky teams that win the Caleb Williams, and I'm going to put them in here, / Drake May sweepstakes? That's your 1A, 1B. Who wins the sweepstakes? There's 2 teams that could get lucky, and they already have quarterbacks on the roster. But would they flip them quarterbacks for a quarterback? Because they already know what they have in their quarterback they have on the roster. And I'm talking about Kyler Murray and Justin Fields. They already know what they have on their roster. Would they flip them and get another franchise quarterback, they hope, in Drake May and Caleb Williams? Or Caleb Williams and Drake May, whichever way you want to say it. Plus, everybody forgets, on draft night this year, the Houston Texans traded back up to 3 with the Arizona Cardinals and sent their pick to Arizona this year. And if I just reminded you, the Carolina Panthers sent 2 first-round picks last year and this year's to Chicago to select number 1 overall, Bryce Young. Could both teams be bad enough to pair if they want to go get off the quarterback they're on right now? Because there will be markets for Justin Fields and Kyler Murray. They're quarterbacks. There will be a market for them. Somebody thinks they'll be able to fix them. They will be able to if they get to the right situation. But could the Arizona Cardinals and Houston Texans get lucky enough, one of them have the 1st and 2nd overall pick? You're drafting your quarterback and Marvin Harrison Jr. if you have that. And let's look at the rosters of both teams real quick. The Chicago Bears. The running back's a little bit to be desired. But they have a rookie that are going to run a little bit more because they've already cut or they're going to cut Deontay Foreman. They have Khalil Herbert and Roscoe Johnson. At receiver, they have DJ Moore, who was traded over this offseason. They have Chase Claypool. They have Darnell Mooney. They have Emmanuel St. Brown. they have Velus Jones and Tyler Scott. At tight end, they have Cole Kmet, Robert Tonyan, and Mercedes Lewis. If you put Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison on that team, are they contenders? Or are they at least better than what they are now? If you put Drake May and Marvin Harrison on that team, are they better than how they are now? I'll let you decide that. Let's go to the Cardinals. The Cardinals re-signed James Conner at running back. At wide receiver, a lot to be desired right now. Hollywood Brown, deep threat. They cut DeAndre Hopkins. I can't even tell you. Zach Ertz is the tight end, but he's coming off an ACL, and he's getting older every year. And it hasn't worked out the way they thought it would, trading for Zach Ertz. He has not been the same Zach Ertz he was in Philadelphia. Maybe he just had that Philly dog in him. But looking at these two rosters, they could use a quarterback and a wide receiver. And could maybe potentially get both. Or they have the first pick or a third pick, or the first and fourth pick, and they get Caleb or Drake, whichever one they prefer, and draft Jared Verse from Florida State, or the offensive tackle from Penn State or Notre Dame or Georgia. Or if you were one of them, would you draft your quarterback and would you draft Brock Bowers from Georgia, the tight end? Tight ends don't normally go this high unless they're good. So that's my take on the 2024 draft. Two teams are in really good positions. But here's what I want to look at. Are there teams that could be bad this year that would take a quarterback? I already said it on Thursday, could the Giants take a quarterback this year? What if the Jets, they have a defense, but Zach Wilson does a lot to be desired still. We know that. What if the Jets had a top 10 pick? Would they take a quarterback and let him sit a year or two behind Rodgers if he decides to come back? Is Matt Stafford the guy in LA for the future? Or would they look to get a quarterback? Does Josh McDaniels have enough faith in Jimmy Garoppolo? Or does he get a quarterback? The one that's really interesting to me, if the Denver Broncos are bad again this year, do they move off Russell Wilson and get a quarterback? There's a lot of quarterbacks coming out this year. Like I've already said, there's quarterbacks this year. It's not a bad draft. There's probably 6 to 7 guys that could be picked on the first day. Maybe even 4 to 5 guys in the top 10 if people are desperate for quarterbacks this year. Could the Falcons get him another quarterback? Could the Desmond Ridder experience be over if he doesn't have a great year? Here's a real one for you. Could the Panthers draft competition for Bryce Young? It could happen. Could it be an RG3 Kirk Cousins situation? Where we like 2 guys. Let's just see who's the better one. Now, Andrews hurt RG3. I know that. But could it be that type of situation? It's crazy to think of it like this, guys. There's guys coming out this year. And there's some teams that are going to get their future quarterbacks and be very happy when that happens. So let's dive into another topic. Can Zach Wilson lead the New York Jets to the playoffs? It's a 2-parter. Yes and no. Yes, he can. If he only throws the ball 20 to 25 times a game and they run the ball for 150 to 200 a game, he can. But you have to feed Breece and Dalvin Cook the whole game. Let Zach make plays and play action, but don't make him win you the ball game. Because if you let Zach Wilson, here's my no part of it, if you let Zach Wilson throw the ball more than 25 times a game, you're asking him to win you the ball game, which we have seen doesn't work. So I would say there's a chance. You have a great defense. They'll keep you in ball games. Zach Wilson just can't lose you ball games. He has to be a game manager. He can't be a game winner. He has to be a game manager. And that's just the way I see it. This is the third year of the Zach Wilson experience, and it hasn't gotten better. They were 7-2 last year and didn't make the playoffs. Because what they try to do, let Zach Wilson win the ball games. You run the ball with Breece and Dalvin Cook, and you play time possession football, and guess what? You'll stay in games because guess what? You keep the other offense off the field a lot. That's what you have to do to win games when you don't trust your quarterback. Heck, let's just break it down like this. That's what the Cowboys have been doing. Yeah, Dak threw for 30 or 35 times last week, but week one, what did they do? They ran the ball. He threw 25 to 26 times. It's called game managing. You don't want him to win you the game. You just don't want him to lose it. So that's how I feel about the Zach Wilson leading the Jets to the playoffs. You have to run the ball, and you can't let him try to be a superstar. Do I see the Green Bay Packers being capable of winning this division when they get healthy? The answer is yes. It is yes, yes, yes. That's all it is. Heck, I may go Daniel Bryan on yes, 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 yes. You want to know why? They have the weapons. They have a smash and dash, have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Then you go to the receivers. You got Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jared Reed. Then at tight end, you drafted Luke Musgraves this year out of Oregon State. But here's where it all comes together. Matt LaFleur knows what he needs to do to put Jordan Love in the best situation. Jordan Love's going to be a really good quarterback in this league. But Jordan Love doesn't need to be dumb right now. That's what they're doing with Jordan Love. They're putting him in the best situation to win ball games. You don't have 30 years of great quarterback play in Green Bay between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and then you go terrible. It's not going to happen. Jordan Love's going to be fine. He's set for 4 years behind one of the greatest of all time, just like Rodgers did with Favre. It's going to look good this year. They're going to get to the playoffs. They may go on a run. You never know. I expect more next year, but the Packers are capable of winning this division when they get healthy. The only team that stands in their way are the Detroit Lions. The Vikings are not good this year. Their defense lets them down a lot. Justin Fields has took a step back, and that has cost them 2 ball games. Do I think the Baltimore Ravens are good or just hype? I think John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson are good. You don't go to the NFL and have a 71% win percentage in the NFL if you're not a good quarterback. But John Harbaugh always has a good defense to go with his quarterback. Plus, they've got more weapons this year. Let's just be honest. Now, the J.K. Dobbins injury does hurt them. I expect them to try to get a running back at the trade deadline. Maybe Jonathan Taylor. That's breaking news from me to you. That's what I see. They're going to try to go get him a running back to take more off of Lamar running the football, because you don't want to pay your quarterback millions of dollars to watch him get hurt running the football. You want him to play from the pocket and make plays with his legs when he needs to. You drafted Rashad Bateman a couple years back in the first round. You have Devin Duvernay. You spent a first-round pick this year on the Boston College alum, Zay Flowers, who people love, and he has looked good the first 2 weeks. You went out this offseason and signed a wide receiver, OBJ. Now, OBJ is hurt right now. I pray to God that he comes back healthy, because there's nothing like OBJ on the football field when he's healthy. This ain't 2014 or 2015, Odell, but this guy can still play ball. And you still have a top 5 tight end in the league in Mark Andrews, who is Lamar's security blanket when times get tough, and he'll make plays. Then you have Isaiah Likely, just in case. The running back room scares me. Justice Hill's out today. Gus Edwards, Melvin Gordon. Scares me a little bit. But I think they'll make a play for a running back at the deadline. I'm really surprised they didn't sign Kareem Hunt before the Browns could, but they didn't. Now let's flip to the Browns. Can Deshaun Watson return to 2020 form for the Cleveland Browns? I love Deshaun Watson, the quarterback. I just think he's got a lot going on in his head. A lot. I think there's a lot of outside stuff that's still affecting him on the football field. I would love to see Deshaun return to 2020 form. He has the weapons. I know Nick Chubb going down hurts a lot. It does. Nick Chubb is a top 5 running back in this league. But they have Jerome Ford, and they went out this week, and they re-signed Kareem Hunt, who's been in this offense 2 to 3 years. Maybe a little bit longer. Kareem Hunt knows the offense. Jerome Ford right now is the leading back. They've already said it. But I expect Kareem Hunt to get a bulk share of the carries as well. Then if you look outside, you have Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, you have Elijah Moore, who you traded from the Jets. So I think the Cleveland Browns, you have David Njoku. The Cleveland Browns have everything on this team to win. And Deshaun Watson can return to 2020 form. But he has to be, it's here. It's mental. And I think that's where he's struggling right now. And being off for as long as he was, it does hurt. But I just think it's more mental than anything right now. I don't think he trusts himself playing football right now. I hope it changes because I love Deshaun Watson as a football player. But I think the mental part of the game has really affected him since he's came back. Can Sean Payton turn around the Denver Broncos? Yes. As I stated earlier, if they're bad this year, could he go get out and get his guy for this system? Is Russell Wilson's time in the NFL over? You know, if he has another down year, do people start to back off a little bit, you know? And let's really think about it. If it wasn't for the LOB in Seattle, does Russell Wilson win a Super Bowl? Or is he as good as he was? Russell Wilson hasn't been Russell Wilson for about 2 years. Then he comes into Denver. Let's ride. Let's ride. Everybody remembers that. Let's ride. And they rode into the ground. You're up. Last week against the Washington Commanders. Huge, you're up. And you let Sam Howell and Brian Robinson come back on you. Now, I love Sam Howell. I love Sam Howell. Good quarterback. We'll get on to him sometime later in the podcast. But does Sean Payton, if they're bad, draft a quarterback. It could happen. Like, guys, there's guys that coaches who like their quarterback now, but they could fall in love with a guy in this draft and be like, that's my guy. That's who I want. Could that happen for the... Plus, the defense ain't good. They had to trade Bradley Chubb. They were supposed to be in a win-now mode last year. And they had to trade Bradley Chubb to get a draft pick so they could pick a player this year. Their defense is lacking a lot. Doesn't have the Von Millers and the DeMarcus Wares and the guys they had when they were running all over the field. It doesn't. They have a really good cornerback in PS2, Patrick Surtain II. They have Justin Simmons. But they've got to rebuild this defense to keep them in ball games. Here's another one for you. Could Josh Allen's reckless play, how long can it last? This guy's reckless. He reminds me of somebody. He's jumping. He's running over you. Josh Allen, if you hear this, which you're probably not, let's just be honest, you're not going to hear this. Stop it. Stop it, please. This is my cry, and I'm not even a Bills fan. This is my cry for Bills Mafia for y'all guys. Stop it, Josh. We've seen this play out with this exact coach and front office guys. Stop it, please. Please stop it. You don't need to run over linebackers, defensive ends. Get down and protect yourself. Slide, please. Because you will be out of the league in 2 to 3 years, or you won't be able to throw the ball for 2 to 3 years if you keep playing the way you are. A la Boogie. Stop it. If Cam Newton was to get to you, he would tell you to stop it. You play the same exact way, guys. Stop running over people. You're not a running back. Let's stop it. And you have to be smarter with the football. You can't be reckless. You're a top 5 quarterback in the league. You can't be reckless with the football. You can't. But that's my plea for you, Josh Allen. Stop running over people. Because you will be out of the league. And people will be like, what could have been? I've seen it. I'm a Panthers fan. What could have been for the Panthers if Cam would have never got hurt? We probably wouldn't be on our 11th starting quarterback as of today after Cam left. You know what? This is my last question of the day. Can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers keep their roll going against the Philadelphia Eagles? Yes, they can. The Eagles haven't looked good the first 2 weeks. There's a little trouble in paradise, it looks like, for the sidelines last week. A.J. Brown getting it hurts his face. A little trouble in paradise. But Baker Mayfield's found a home. And he said in his press conference, he says, I'm not Tom Brady, I'm Baker Mayfield. And finally, the real Baker Mayfield showed up. He has a team that believes in him. He has 2 stud wide receivers to go to, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I was a little weary on the Mike Evans. I didn't know how this would go. But it looks like Baker and him are on the same page. And it looks like that this could turn into something that nobody really expected. The people expected the Buccaneers to be bad this year. They're 2-0. Now, they haven't beat great teams, but all they did was play the teams they played and won the football game. That's all you can do in the NFL. So I do think the Buccaneers can win their ball game on Monday night versus the Eagles. It's going to be a gritty ball game. It's not going to be a blowout. It may be a three-point game. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could be 3-0 after Monday night and be one of the most surprising 3-0 teams in the NFL. But that's today's episode. Thank y'all for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll be back. Thank y'all.